Pawn Stars on the History Channel has been a worldwide hit since 2009. It's the perfect mix of entertainment, history, and negotiation. Rick Harrison, co-founder of the show and shop, has spent most of his life in the shop and worked hard to grow and expand the pawn shop business. Despite his clear dedication to growth, Rick has faced many personal problems and legal battles that most people are not aware of. Let's look at what happened to Rick Harrison and get an update on Richard Kelvin Harrison. Better known as Rick Harrison, was born on March 22, 1965, to Richard Benjamin Harrison and Joanne Rue Harrison. His parents had 4 children: Sher, Joseph, Rick, Chris, and Rick. Rick was the third child and he lost one of his siblings, Sher, Joanne Harrison, when she was 6 years old. Sherry was the first child of Benjamin Harrison and Joanne Harrison, and she was born with Down syndrome. Rick's father served in the U.S. Navy. Harrison's family moved to San Diego, California when he was 2 years old because his father was transferred. Rick had ongoing problems when he started having epileptic seizures at 8 years old, which meant he had to spend a lot of time in bed reading books. This started his lifelong love for books and reading. He especially liked a series by John D. Fitzgerald, called The Great Brain, which was about a 10-year-old Utah con artist named Tom D. Fitzgerald who inspired Harrison. Harrison also liked physics and history. Harrison went to Taft Middle School in San Diego, but dropped out in the 10th grade to sell fake Gucci bags for $20 a week. Rick and his family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada in April 1981 because their parents' real estate business had failed when they were 17. Rick faced another challenge when his girlfriend Kim got pregnant. Even though he was still pretty young, Rick bravely decided to become a father, but they tragically lost their first child to a miscarriage. Despite having a miscarriage, they stayed strong and eventually got married in 1982. Their first child, Corey, was born on April 27, 1983, and later became very important to his father's business. 2 years later, they were thrilled to welcome their second child, Adam. Not long after Adam was born, Harrison and Kim split up in 1985. But Rick didn't stay a single dad for long. Just 9 months after his divorce, he started dating Tracy, and the two of them got married in 1986. We've talked about Rick's studies in physics and history, which helped his career because when his father opened a 300-foot used gold and silver coin shop on Las Vegas Boulevard South in 1981, Rick's knowledge of history really helped the shop's success, because he could back up each piece with historical information. But at night, Rick was repossessed cars. 5 years later, the family moved to a bigger place on Fremont Street, but they had to move again after 2 years. In his autobiography, Rick wrote that he and his dad had wanted to turn the store into a pawn shop for a while, seeing it as the next logical step, but they couldn't because of a law from 1955 in Las Vegas that said the city could only issue a certain number of pawn licenses based on its population, so they had to wait until the population reached 250,000 before applying for a pawn license. In 1989, after some legal problems that same year, they finally got their pawn license. A father and son opened the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop at 713 Las Vegas Boulevard South, not far from the Las Vegas Strip. At first, the father and son focused on selling rare sports items and unique historical pieces, but jewelry quickly became their best-seller item. As time went on, their business grew and became well known in Las Vegas. By 2005, they were lending millions of dollars each year and making hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. The next year, the store became known for having rare sports items with interesting stories behind them. They helped gamblers who needed money for gas to get home by pawning things like Brock Williams' 2001 Super Bowl ring. Their growth and popularity caught the attention of the History Channel, which led to the creation of Pawn Stars. The first episode aired in July 2009. Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines from Left Field Pictures came up with the idea for Pawn Stars while they were in Las Vegas in 2008. They loved the variety of interesting and sketchy pawn shops and thought that these shops could be the stars of the show. They were looking for a family-owned shop to base a TV show on, and eventually found the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, which was less than 2 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. This shop had already been the subject of a PBS documentary in 2001, and Rick, the manager and part owner, had wanted a show about his shop for years. Rick had also been in an episode of Insomniac with Dave Attell in 2003. The show was first pitched to HBO, who didn't like the original idea but let it go ahead. The show was originally called Pawning History, but it was later changed to Pawn Stars to better fit what they were filming. The name is a play on words with porn stars. The show is filmed at the famous Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas, Nevada. While jewelry is the most common item that people bring in, Pawn Stars customers bring in a wide range of vintage or antique items. The shop has over 1,000 items in stock. But during filming, the store is closed to the public, and only a few approved customers are allowed inside. Many people watched, liked, and wanted more of the Harrison family because of the show. This helped the show grow every year. In January 2011, Pawn Stars was the most watched show on the History Channel and the second most watched reality show after Jersey Shore. On June 7, 2011, Rick Harrison published his autobiography, Licensed to Pawn: Deals, Steals, and My Life at the Gold and Silver. It reached number 22 on the New York Times bestseller list by June 26, 2011. That same year, Rick divorced his second wife. Rick Harrison, who had been divorced twice before, announced his engagement to Deanna Barrett, who was also divorced the following year. Rick was happy with the show's success and his growing popularity with fans. Corey and Chumlee played themselves in an episode of iCarly called I Lost My Head in Vegas. 4 days later, Rick played an antique store owner in an episode of another show called The Middle. Around this time, Rick married Deanna Barrett in Laguna Beach, California, and they had 3 stepdaughters, Serena, Kiana, and Marissa. In January 2014, Rick Harrison became the face of the men's shaving product MicroTouch One and appeared in a TV commercial for it. A few months later, the History Channel premiered United Stuff of America, a show from the producers of Pawn Stars that shines a light on important historical artifacts. In July 2014, the History Channel premiered the game show Pornography, in which Rick, Corey, and Chumlee compete against contestants to stop them from winning cash and prizes of gold and silver from pawn shops. But unfortunately, a string of bad luck struck Rick and his family. In June 2018, Richard Harrison, better known as the Old Man on the TV show Pawn Stars, died. Rick told his over 245,000 Instagram followers that his father had died, saying that Parkinson's disease was to blame. A representative for Harrison confirmed the patriarch's death and provided the same statement Rick shared on Instagram from the History Channel. The TV star's family, saying, "We are very sad about the death of our friend Richard the Old Man Harrison, who was a beloved member of the History and Pawn Stars family." The statement also says, "We'll miss his wisdom and honesty. Our hearts are with the Harrison family during this difficult time." Losing his father caused Rick a lot of sadness and put him in charge of taking care of his family and running the shop. The COVID-19 pandemic hit in 2019, severely affecting the business and creating many new jobs. Many people were having a hard time during COVID-19, so you might have thought that pawn shops were doing well. After all, if you were in a pinch and needed cash quickly, a pawn shop was the place to go. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for many of these businesses. There was a short-lived boost in business at the start of the pandemic, but Rick, the star of Pawn Stars, told Fox News that COVID-19 had changed the pawn shop business as a whole. As a result, most people were only doing necessary things, and visiting a pawn shop wasn't at the top of their lists. To make matters worse, Rick had to partially close his shop doors in March 2020 because the number of cases skyrocketed. The tourist section of the business was closed for 30 days, but the financial side stayed open, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The shop's chief financial officer said, "We kept buying assets and running the loan business through our night window 247. Rick was still ready to fight for his business, and he made it clear that he and the rest of the famous gold and silver pawn shop team were ready to work harder. In an interview with a Las Vegas news station in April 2020, he also said, "We lowered the interest rate on items. We gave people more time to pick up their stuff. We understood. I've been in this town for a long time. It's given me a lot, and I always try to give back." In that interview, Rick also said that unfortunately, we now know that wasn't the case. According to the Daily Mail, the gold and silver pawn shop, which usually makes over $1 million a year, only made $3,746 in 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. On top of that, Rick had to deal with a divorce from his third wife, Deanna Barrett, whom he married in September 2020. According to court papers obtained by TMZ, Rick Harrison and Deanna Barrett seem to have grown apart so much that they couldn't stay married. Rick said in the lawsuit that they can't get along in marriage because their tastes, opinions, and preferences have become so different. TMZ also said that the divorce might have been overlooked because it happened during the national George Floyd protests. Rick told TMZ, "I got 3 great daughters out of it," referring to Diana's 3 children from her previous marriage. He also said that the marriage didn't work out, and that they both agreed to the divorce. He also said that he has moved on from the father-daughter photos he has recently seen. Rick wrote on Instagram on August 7th that he still thinks of his stepchildren as his own. "Daughter day off-roading," he wrote. He has said similar things about more than one of his stepdaughters, so at least that's a good thing. Despite the problems, Rick dealt with them with help from his son Corey and his best friend, Austin Chumley Russell. A year later, Rick married Amanda Palmer, hoping for a better life with her. However, Rick's problems continued in February 2022 when he, according to USA Today, Rick's mother Joanne Harrison has sued him over family assets and ownership of the gold and silver pawn shop. The civil lawsuit was filed in Nevada State Court and names Rick Harrison, the gold and silver pawn shop, Harrison Properties, Jorick Properties and others as defendants. Running a family business can be hard because money issues can make things worse. To break up with someone, which is what happened to friendship problems between Rick and Joanne, his mother, really hurt their relationship. His mother accused Rick of breaking a contract, saying that his mother had been married to his father for almost 60 years, but Rick made her sign over 51% of the pawn shop while she was in the hospital in the early 2000s, even though she didn't fully understand what she was signing. This made Rick look bad in the eyes of his fans. People who were following the story had always thought he was a family man who wouldn't hurt his family for money. When Richard died in 2018, his wife inherited his 49% share of the pawn shop. However, it seemed like her son never gave her the full financial records of the business because she said she hadn't received proper records for more than $500,000 in cash and silver that she thought Richard had before he died. She said Rick had stopped sending her money. Rick used to send her regular $25,000 payments from his late husband Richard's share of the business, but he stopped in 2020. Joanne was also trying to get that allowance reinstated through the courts. Many fans thought Rick's wealth was in danger because, according to reports, Joanne filed a temporary restraining order against her son to stop him from selling any of the family's assets. The order also said Rick couldn't move or hide cash assets or do anything else that would put the family's wealth at risk. The claim also asked that her share of the family business be cut down, damage not defined, a full list of assets, and a court order to stop according to Joanne's request. Rick was not allowed to use his mother's money and had to give up any control over her property through a constructive trust. However, Rick later said in an interview about the case, "The accusations are false, and I believe that my 81-year-old mother is being influenced by others for their own benefit." While Rick enjoys his comfortable life as a celebrity in charge of everything, according to an article, Joanne was over 80 years old and has many health problems that need round-the-clock care, which can cost up to $155,000 per month. Rick said he only heard about the restraining order request from the news. He said, "I've tried to contact her many times over the last few months but haven't been able to reach her. In fact, one of the companies she is suing is one of mine, is completely owned by my mother," the Pawn Star star said, looking confused by his mother's lawsuit. Even though Rick was facing many problems, his worst and most devastating blow was still to come. In January 2024, he tragically lost his son. A public information officer in Clark County, Nevada, confirmed that the 39-year-old died from fentanyl and methamphetamine overdose. The death was ruled an accident by the Clark County Medical Examiner's Office. Concern was raised when another resident said he hadn't been there since January 17th. The owner police were called when his parents found him unresponsive on January 19. Harrison shared the sad news of his son's death by posting a picture of himself and Adam at a restaurant on Instagram with the caption, "You'll always be in my heart, I love you Adam Harrison," and a broken heart emoji. In a statement on January 22, Laura Hervich, a spokesperson for the family, said that Adam had reportedly died of a fentanyl overdose. "We are deeply saddened by Adam's passing. Please respect our privacy," Harrison wrote. Rick also said in a statement that the heroin crisis in this country needs to be taken more seriously. In response to Rick's touching Instagram tribute to his son Adam, many people expressed their condolences. Donald Trump Jr. simply said, "I'm so sorry, man." Corey Harrison, Adam's older brother, posted a picture of the two of them as kids and wrote, "I'll always love you, Bubba." Adam Harrison wasn't seen on Pawn Stars, but he reportedly worked at Gold. Corey said that Adam didn't seem interested in being on the show, even though he has a lot of problems and sadness in his life. Rick stays positive and hides his pain behind a bright smile. He backed Donald Trump for president and Daniel Rodimer for Nevada's 3rd Congressional District in 2020. Rick even thought about running for governor of Nevada in 2022. Rick also said he might run for U.S. Senate in 2024. A lot of people in the party have done the same. "I've thought about it a lot, and I still do. I haven't decided yet, but I'm keeping my options open." Rick got his Kentucky Colonel status U.S. during an episode of the Pawn Stars spin-off that was partly filmed at Locust Grove. He was inducted into the Kentucky Colonels in June 2023 in their Grand Parlor. The Kentucky Colonel is the highest honor given by the Governor of Kentucky. Rick no longer works full-time at the pawn shop. Instead, he leads Season 2 of Pawn Stars Do America. He seems to be enjoying his semi-retirement and life as a reality TV star while spending time with his family and grandkids.